What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah. Opus, my man, sitting next to me here.
Yo, how's it going? Just filling in for a short bit while the ever-popular Carly is preparing herself.
Yes, Carly is going to be my co-host today since Mr. John Burfello is not in the house. Couldn't get a hold of him today. Looks like Johnny, I just don't think he can commit to the show anymore. He keeps saying, I'll be there, I want to be there, but he just can't make it for some reason. He's
and
a busy
I'm living
guy.
in the house now.
You do.
I'm here every day.
Our joint technician,
So
Opus. Very important job around here. We're going to have a video made of that soon to play on the show.
I'm actually bringing in, I was talking to Miranda, we're going to bring in my shit next week, and she's going to help.
Shoot some stuff?
Yeah, no, I'm going to shoot
Nice.
stuff. I'll just bring in my own gear.
Cool.
Like everything around here, if you want something done, do it yourself.
Yeah, and you know, we have a new guy, Mo. I don't know if you saw the videos he made, but he made
No,
a
I
couple
haven't
cool new
seen 'em.
videos. They haven't been published yet, but we have a team. That
I haven't
can
met
come-
him, actually.
Yeah, you haven't met him.
No, I have not met him.
Yeah, you
no.
met him once. You did meet him.
Did
you
I?
were telling him about your ride on the motorcycles and all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was in the office upstairs.
That was a long time back.
Yeah, he's going to come and shoot you. So we've already talked about it.
Okay.
But you can also, if you guys shoot your own, you should give it to him.
I will give it to him
Yeah.
and let him use some. He can do what he wants. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
So Opus, you went for a little vacation and then you came back and now you're hustling again.
Yeah, I was. July I put 4,300 kilometers on the bike.
That's pretty dope.
Yo, man.
That's not bad at all.
Went to Toad Rock Motorcycle Campground, rode around the West Kootenay, some amazing roads, some of the best motorcycle roads literally in North America. And then the summer stomp in Sicamous. And then I was over on the island for a week and in the Coombs Rodeo Fairgrounds, as a matter of fact, camped out there. Our national rally of our motorcycle club was there. So it was good times.
Very cool. Windows is wanting me to schedule a time to run an update. I don't know why it does these things. Exit. Now I X'd you. There we go. I don't know if you saw Opus. So you were on vacation. Now you're back doing more joints. We have joints everywhere.
Yep.
I really liked, and it's on the front page of the show. We're looking at a picture of him right now. Actually, if I put this back here, there he is. That's U.S. Senator Cory Booker. That's how we opened the show today. Cory Booker is a senator from New Jersey who put out a video talking about a bill that he's putting forward into the U.S. Senate to legalize cannabis.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty awesome.
I've heard. I saw some tweets about it, but I didn't get a chance to watch.
We're going to play a few minutes of the video on the show today, like 3 or 4 minutes. But I want everybody out there to go and watch this video. It's really amazing. Now, I thought that I put it in the front page of the, or like in the notes of the show today, but it didn't stick. So it's actually on his Facebook page. I can find it. I'm going to put it in the notes of the show as soon as I get a chance here. But everybody ought to go and watch that video. Don't do it during the show, obviously. But go and watch it. We'll watch a clip of it.
Don't go
Go
anywhere.
and watch it after the show. And actually, the other thing is, right now, for the diehards that are out there, Dana Larson actually is right now on CKNW. Yeah, and he's talking about everything that's going on with the marijuana legalization and so on and so forth. He's actually talking about the fentanyl stuff, I think. Because if you've been following the Canadian news, there was this article that came out on the Huffington Post and from the London Free Press.
I was going to say that was out of Ontario.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's talking about a report that was made by the Ontario government saying that they found fentanyl in marijuana based on these studies. These studies show that there's fentanyl in the marijuana.
Actually, the one I read was they found people's urine tested positive
That's what
for
it really was.
fentanyl who had said they'd only smoked marijuana and never done any other drugs.
That's such a bullshit
This
thing.
is what they were trying to say, and somehow that associates
Right.
people cutting marijuana with fentanyl to the Ontario government.
Let's just say it's not a very scientific study.
And to HuffPost Canada, because that was just really shitty reporting.
And Dana
Horrible
complained.
story.
Dana actually complained to the author of the piece, and they changed the title of it because it was basically completely misleading. They're trying to claim that because they found urine or fentanyl in people's urine, that somehow that directly relates to cannabis having it.
Yeah.
It's because they're taking these people's word that they only had cannabis.
That's
but
right.
even if they only consume cannabis, you can pick up fentanyl from other places.
There could have been exposure, exactly, through other
that's
areas.
completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, no, it's just more reefer madness. There's a whole bunch of it going on right now. And you're
yeah.
going to see more of this as we get closer to legalization happening across the country. And, you know, even if it's not real legalization, we're going to see a lot of this coming from the conservative types, all of the groups out there, the different layers of government. We're going through all of it right now. There's a recent argument
the mothers
over the
against
age.
drunk drivers. There's the drug driver. I mean, which
there's going to be arguments about how old people are allowed to be to smoke cannabis. And you see these recent ones, they were proposing 21 years of age. They said it was 18's too young. No, that's ridiculous.
Well, you know, I think you're also seeing all these premiers that have come out, especially from the eastern provinces, who have all mentioned like, oh, we need more time. We should delay this legalization, push it back. We're not ready. What it is they're not ready for the barrage of litigation that they're going to face if they try to push through these onerous regulations.
Yes.
For instance, the whole driving thing is going to be really interested, the blowback on that, because now we're going into a court and you're going to have to prove impairment. It's, you know, you can pass a law, but someone's going to challenge that law very quickly. And a matter of fact, I've heard of lawyers that are just lining up. They can't wait to take those cases.
Right.
Yeah, for people who are going to get dinged for impaired because they tested a swab positive for weed. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with impairment. It has to do with testing positive for marijuana.
Exactly. Well,
and that's going to be an easy one to prove in a court.
They're gonna keep losing until they change it to be impairment testing and not blood testing. That's what it should be for everything anyways, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's evidence that shows with alcohol, certain usage, yes, you're physically impaired.
Right.
There's no question if, ands, or buts.
It's scientific when it comes to alcohol. It's not scientific when it comes to cannabis.
No, at all.
No.
But what is a common thread with cannabis is people's judgment doesn't get impaired. So if you don't feel capable of driving a car, you're going to go, you know what? I don't think I should be driving. And you won't. Because your judgment is not impaired.
Exactly.
You might be, say it a lot slower than come to the conclusion take you 20 minutes, but meanwhile, you're still sitting on the couch.
Right, and you don't really see, I just don't see a lot of impairment issues when it comes to marijuana and crashes and stuff. It's not, people don't get outraged and drive really fast or like try to show off and these kinds of things. All the studies show that people who smoke marijuana when they drive are slower, they are more cautious. Sometimes that can lead to slower reaction times, which is a negative. But overall, studies that are even published, I believe in some, they're on international mainstream magazines and stuff, say that cannabis drivers are safer drivers, even than people just not smoking anything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of counterintuitive, but it is true. If you're really stoned, you're more cautious.
The bottom line is, had there been an issue with crashes or people, impaired and causing carnage on the road due to cannabis, we would have had the statistics from that a long time ago, because that would have been waved in our face like this.
Oh, of course.
Had it been anything to wave.
Everybody's
but
been
there's
smoking
nothing.
pot.
So now we're coming up to legalization and they're grasping at straws. Anyhow, I'm going to get out of here because I see the beautiful Carly Marley has wandered in. She's ready.
Before you go, did you see this other story about the prison guard union getting worried about legalization in Ontario because they think that there's going to be more violence in the prisons because cannabis is going to send drones in with cannabis.
Oh yeah, there'll be more violence. The one I saw that also was interesting was the fact of prison guards were being treated for exposure to fentanyl.
Oh, really? Oh,
that was another recent story. Yeah,
well,
I also saw
a real concern.
I believe it was attached to that other story that you talked about. Yeah, it was also related because it was related with prison, obviously the guards. So,
the thing that about the not about the fentanyl issue, but about the one that I was talking about.
Right. Oh, they're worried about legalization. Yeah,
they're worried about legalization.
Out about nothing.
But what these articles and the authors of the pieces that are writing them, and the people like the prison guard union itself are failing to recognize is that the pot is already in the prisons. It's already been coming in about as much as you can possibly get it in. It's not going to change because you legalized it. That makes no difference about, I really don't believe that's going to change very much how much weed's getting into prison.
No.
No. There's weed out there. There's fucking weed everywhere. You can get
Any
weed
knowledgeable
anywhere.
person will tell you it's easier to get drugs in prison than it is on the street.
And just like in schools. Any place you go, you can get weed. So,
In Surrey, it's easy to get a gun, and you just have to ask a teenager.
Exactly. So don't buy this shit. You know, weed is already in these places. Weed is already in the blood of people driving. Weed is already in the prisons. It's everywhere. Don't be afraid.
I ride a motorcycle and drive a car, never have a problem. And do you think I ever stop smoking?
I've never driven my car without smoking weed.
Well, I get up in the morning,
my
I
life.
smoke weed. When I
think.
smoke all day, and I go to bed. It's part of my life, and then I don't even think about driving. You know, just something I do.
I smoke pot from the time I get up till the time I go to bed and do everything high. So I don't like do crazy dabs and then get behind the wheel or something. That's obviously stupid.
Yeah.
If you're falling asleep, you shouldn't be driving.
Yeah.
But
No.
We'll take dab naps first.
take a dab nap.
Yeah.
You just pull over on the side of the road.
When I wake up from my nap and have a bite to eat. Yeah, and then I'll go up.
Yeah, you pull over.
All right, man.
Or it's like that scene
See
from
you soon.
Cheech and Chong when they're like driving along and they're like, "Hey man, pull over," and then they are pulled over.
Parked in the bowl.
They're parked in the exactly.
That's the weirdest feeling. I used to get that all the time when I was stoned.
Carly Marley is in the house, taking over for Johnny B today. Thanks, Opus.
See you guys.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Come down and see Opus. He's got he does a live show every day here upstairs, rolling joints. Yeah, that's Opus's live show these days. That wouldn't be a bad idea. We could have like a little afternoon joint sesh, pop in at like sometime during the day.
Live broadcast up there.
Pop in.
Thought of the day or something.
Yeah.
What was that ranch show they used to do where it was only like 10 minutes?
Like 2 cents.
Yeah, we could do like
Come on
what
up, man.
grinds Opus's gears.
grinds my gears?
Yes. What grinds my weed?
Exactly what I
Yeah.
Come up and see what grinds my weed today.
What grinds my weed?
That's funny.
All right, later.
All right, see you, Opus. So Carly Marley, what's up?
Not too much. It's been a busy week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
busy.
Busy.
Started with some Pride on Sunday.
Yes, which was a lot of fun. I had so much fun this year.
Vancouver Pride, Gay Pride. We were
Yeah.
there in force. We had the Sensible BC float there. I guess was it Sensible BC?
Yeah, it was kind of Sensible BC, the marijuana dispensary, cannabis community. They put it under the name of Sensible BC, but anyone who's in the cannabis community is encouraged and welcome to come on down and participate. So it's our, you know, the name we put it under is the Sensible BC one, but it's the cannabis community as a whole, really.
I just realized I don't have a chat window up, so I can't see all the lovely chatters out there yelling at us. Which no.
The dank debate at CKW.
What's that?
They're calling it the dank debate.
The dank
They
debate.
got music and everything.
Where's
the
this?
Dank debate. Dana Larson and the.
Oh, so Neil is listening in to what is it?
CKNW.
CKNW right now. Dana Larson is on the radio. He's talking about the fentanyl thing and about weed.
Talking about licensed producers, and he's got a licensed producer
Oh.
that he's debating about which weed is safer.
Oh, he's debating a licensed producer about which pot is safer, whether it's safer from a licensed producer or safer from a. Oh, we do have a chat window. Boss Lissa already made that happen. Thanks, Boss Lissa.
Did you want to dab?
But I don't have a Facebook one. I'll do that on my phone. I would love a dab.
Right?
Absolutely. Yes, and I brought some cannabis culture weed today. It's boxed cannabis culture weed. This is Tuna Rockstar. And if you look at this, I can show it off on the bud cam here. Bud cam it. Bud cam. Tuna Rockstar.
Happy 420.
This is our boxes of herb. Now we have vending machines in our cannabis culture dispensaries, and we carry mostly pre-rolled joints in these boxes. I tried to sell the boxed weed, but it wasn't very popular, actually. People like buying the pot itself from the dispensary. The vending machine itself, it wouldn't be necessarily bad if we had it in, say, a location that didn't have a dispensary in it. But if there's a dispensary right next to it, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to go and get. They want box joints.
I get that.
And
Because I like
everybody-
to see my nugs and smell them with like, but at the same time, it's nice because I know, sometimes you come in and you know exactly what strain you're in love with at the dispensary right now. So it's nice to have the option, but
Yeah.
I can see why people want to be able to,
Because in the dispensary, you can go, there's a big jar there. You can have the jar opened up. You can smell the jar. There's a nice display bud. You can get as much or as little as you want. I was putting some 8s in these boxes in the vending machine originally to just test it. I've been doing some vending machine testing to see how the vending actually works. I'll show that off in a sec. Dab first. Whew. What is that?
Moby Dick.
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's a good dab. That stuff just hits me hard.
It gets you stoned.
But yes. So, here. Bud can. This is really nice pod, actually. Tuna Rockstar. I can't really see it in the baggie, but it's super fine. Marijuana, really nice. Smells good. It's a little heavy on the indica side for me, even though it is a hybrid. See, oh, that's the hot seat. There's nobody in it right now. We do have a lot of these boxes available. We have we're making them now, mass producing them, rolling joints. As you saw, Opus, our joint tech, he's prepping our joints. We put them in these boxes, sell them in the vending machine. It's pretty cool. I think that's really the next wave. Honestly, the thing that people want, and it's bizarre, but it's just people don't like rolling their own joints. It's convenience. People, and we put really good pot in the joints. People, every time I show them the pre-boxed joints, people are like, yeah, but is it really good weed or is it just like scrap that you put in there? No, we put the same weed. There's like a Carly hair on me somewhere.
It has a mind of its own today.
Yeah. We put the same weed that goes into the jars and the same ones that looks like this into the joints. We make sure I smoke the joints. I'm not going to put shitty pot into anything with the Cannabis Culture logo on it. We don't want any shitty pot in those boxes. So that's just the way we feel about it. It's about good weed, man. Why would we're not doing this for any other reason other than trying to get very nice marijuana into everybody's hands and lungs. So I'm really high now, and we have a video that we kind of like co-made, right? I shot it. So we went to the Pride Parade, which is pretty huge here in Vancouver. It's the biggest event in the city, I think.
It was huge this year too. The parade was massive.
It is massive, and it's really funny because there's a crowd on either side of the road, and nobody goes into the parade except the people marching in the parade. But you can if you want to.
It's super easy.
It's not like it's hard. So we just walk in and walk all the way along and get perfect video of the whole entire thing. The funny thing was, I wanted to get to the front of the line, but when we showed up, we weren't at the front. We were almost right at the back where the Sensible BC booth was. So I had to walk all the way, first of all, through the parade. But I wasn't recording with the camera the whole time because it was hot and the camera was overloading. So I did get a lot of crowd shots walking. And the funny thing is, when you walk and you're facing the crowd, as you walk, everybody cheers the entire time that you walk.
They love the camera.
If you walk with the camera pointing at the crowd through the whole thing, the crowd the entire time is going nuts. And because next to them they hear the crowd going nuts as it comes down, it's just a wave of sound as you go. And so I have this camera footage of just people going crazy all the way.
It's so much fun. That's why I was really excited to shoot it. And
Yeah.
we were going to do last year, you did
It's
a
a funny
full
video.
walkthrough and then came and met back up. And then we kept switching devices and getting footage together. But because the parade was so big this year that by the time you got to the front of the parade and back, we were pretty much already at the end because it was so long. So
Yes.
I ended up not walking around with my camera getting the crowd cheering. I was watching the crowd cheering at seeing Justin Trudeau smoking a joint.
That's
With Neil's
funny.
very impressive
Yes,
mask.
Neil was
It
wearing
awesome.
a JT mask the whole
Justin
time.
Trudeau mask, and the crowd
Love that.
loved it. He put a little mouth hole in where the cheesy smile is, and popped a doobie in there, and it was great. So many, you could actually smoke, and there was I don't know. I feel like out of all of the floats in the parade, we probably had the most people run up and come take selfies with us because they loved that. They loved it. It was a lot of fun. It was really good.
Yeah, it was fun. And then, so when I got to the front of the parade, I started the video, walked through the entire parade. Oh no, sorry, whoever you are. But yeah, and that's what you got on video to show today, right? Is actually the entire parade in time lapse.
Yes.
So it's basically start to finish.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't know why.
But
stopped
I had just enough time to edit and like get it uploaded right before the show. So
Yeah.
I haven't watched it all the way through yet myself. So we're all getting
Oh.
a sneak little peek because yes,
It could
this
be
is
anything now.
It could be anything. So we'll have to see how the
part
music
where I
all
moved the
sounds put
camera?
together and everything. I got rid of that and everything. But
There was no mooning of the camera.
oh,
I was joking. I said the part where I mooned the camera.
the moon. I thought you said moved.
Oh.
I thought you were talking about when you went to find a garbage can. Never mind.
No. I said the part where I mooned the camera. Yes.
No, I would have kept that part in.
Yeah, of course.
It's pride.
Just goes without saying. Exactly.
There's probably a couple butts in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think there are a few butts. So, okay, let's play it, shall we?
Yeah, let's see
Okay.
how it goes.
Let's see. It's here somewhere. That's the one. It's gonna come up as a little window dealy first. Oh, hold on. Nice. Okay. So I'm gonna do it over top of the screen here. We're gonna add it. Screen cap. Oh heck. Whoops. That was silly of me. Sorry. I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger. Sorry. We always do the tech stuff on air. It's so fun that way. So, one more time. Add screen cap. I could have just opened it as a media file. Oh, yeah. Oh, well. Let's do that instead. That's actually much better. Okay, we're going to add it as a media file, ladies and gents.
When the student becomes the teacher.
Where is it? Devices, text, media file. There we go. It's on that little widget dealy. What's it called?
A USB.
No, what's the video called?
Pride Labs.
There it is. There it is. Nice. Enjoy. And there we have it. Oh, that's nice. I like that. So, oh, here we are. So that one, it was a little fast, I gotta say.
It was so fast.
Yeah, it wasn't quite what we were expecting, but
Yeah.
we got to see the whole thing in a shorter amount of time, which is cool.
Guys, this is hot.
At least we're
tea,
being
hot
efficient.
tea.
Right. That one
Yeah.
can do some
Yes.
other kinds of chemical drugs.
Usually
so-
when I do a time-lapse video, I go somewhere like between 600 to 1,000% faster than what it originally is.
Yeah.
Usually the ones we do together, you encourage me to go way faster than that, to like 15,000% faster than
Something
the original
happened.
speed. I don't know. I went with 1,000, which is normally like mint for a time lapse,
And you hadn't
it was just
actually
like
seen it. That's the funny thing.
I hadn't seen it. I was watching
Yeah.
it with you guys for the first time because it takes. I did a little text. I was doing a
Yeah.
test export, so I was testing to see how it would come out. But to do that on my computer would have taken so long that I wouldn't have been
It was the
able
condensed
to.
version.
It was the condensed
It's
version.
very, you got to, if you know, you want
Prior
to
to
watch it.
6.5
you can
minutes,
Play
guys.
it back, slow it down.
And there'll
No,
be another video
that wasn't
too.
Johnny B. That was David.
David Malmolevine.
That was DML.
There will be another video too that's got not just time lapse stuff. Like last year I did a
you'll
time
publish
lapse
one
video.
that's a
and-
slowed down version of that one too, right?
Well, I'm gonna slow that one down a little.
Yeah, I would say that
I
would.
got some on my phone that we got from the
Neil in the hot seat. Hi, Neil.
Hot TV. I got some on my phone that I got from on the float itself as we were going by, and the reaction of the people.
You should send me those so I can include them in my video.
I should, because it
That'd
was
be
it was amazing. I got to, as we mentioned, have the Trudeau mask on with
Yes.
my pot blazer, of course. And that was just such a hoot, the way the people reacted as we were going along. You could just see them all pointing and laughing and taking pictures and running up to the float and wanted to meet Trudeau and stuff. And before we got started, we had like a couple hours in the staging area, and I went down to where they were launching the whole parade and watched them as they all got going, and got great reaction there as well. But I actually walked alongside of some of the different floats in the parade. I walked with Vision Vancouver for a while. I walked with the Liberal Party of Canada. I walked with the RCMP. It was quite a hoot. I must have driven a bit crazy because I was saying, as we're walking around, hey, these are my boys. I'm going to legalize weed. They're going to make sure you only buy your weed off of me. And so at some point, after about 25 or 30 minutes at the front of the parade, they're doing that. The VPD came and started hassling me, and they took away the joint that was in the mask. They took it out of my hand. I said, they said, you're not allowed to have that. I said, oh, yeah, I am allowed to have that. I got my papers. So they made me show them the papers, and then they said, well, we're going to keep this, and you can come to the station and claim it there. So I really attacked them for their attack on freedom. They threatened me 3 times they were going to put me in jail if I didn't go back to my float. I didn't go back till the 3rd time, then I'd had enough fun.
You should have
anyway,
told
but,
him if the Prime Minister does it, it's not illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
And then put the mask on.
Yeah, it was really quite a bizarre piece of what was otherwise a hugely fun day of tolerance and acceptance. But the VPD, they didn't look very good there for sure.
Bless you.
So yeah, that was quite an experience for sure. We affected a lot of people. I got
Yeah.
to tell a lot of people as the parade would slow down that, hey, I'm going to legalize weed, and they'd all go, yay! And then I go, but you have to buy it off of me and my dealers only. So
Nah, who's
Not the
that?
And
best.
then they'd all kind of give this perplexed
Yeah.
look, like,
Oh,
what?
that's wrong
He's
with
saying
it.
something. There's some. What does that mean? So you
Yeah.
could see that there's a lot of gears turning and seeds.
yeah, I think a lot of
planted
people
by
out there
that.
think that we're just going to legalize weed and it's all good and everything, but it's not at all. It's
all
not at
bad.
It's, it's
No,
going to
it's-
still
it's
require a lot of people getting
mostly bad.
penalized for different weed crimes and things like that, and trying to protect Trudeau's dealers.
And there's
from
nothing
corporate
worse than getting
monopolies.
penalized.
Yeah, few things worse.
So-
Few things worse than that.
Okay, we have more videos to play. I want to, I think we should also maybe move the camera up a little bit because we're getting a lot of table here. Maybe Boss Lissa can help. Can you just move the cam up ever so slightly? We're just getting a lot of table. It is a nice table though.
Well, you don't have enough weed on the
Just a
table.
tiny little
Typically,
bit.
you
I
have
know,
a
we
lot
don't
of
have a
weed and
little-
stuff on the table.
Even a little higher, There you go. That's better. There, look at that, beautiful. Aw. I was just falling off the top on my little screen here. So videos we have, and Carly, you were asking before the show about Cory Booker. Is that
Yeah.
thing still up? No. Oh, now it's the chat. Look at that guy just bought my. No, there's the chat. No, it's kind of cool. I like it. I think I already closed that window. It's okay. But we got the chat now. That's cool. We can go back here. Check it out. Rewind the chat a bit. There you go. Anyways, I'm just having
They
fun.
love you, Neil.
Yeah, I think I still there.
All the chatters love you. They
Here
do.
it is. Like that. Check this out. Now let's try it. Bam. There it is. There he is. Carly, that's the guy.
That's the guy.
That's the guy. His name is Cory Booker from the U.S. Senate from New Jersey. And he has a bill to legalize cannabis, a federal bill.
In the States.
In the U.S., not here in Canada, of course. He'd be invading territory in that case. But I just wanted to, I thought the Trudeau, the Justin, should listen to Cory because what he says in his video is really awesome. He's not just advocating legalizing cannabis, but he's advocating expunging the records of people who have cannabis convictions, which is an extremely important part, and stopping this war on drugs, which is, he rightfully points out, has been targeting minority communities, is a war on the poor, and there needs to be some recognition of that.
And quite frankly, it's never been a crime to possess or sell cannabis. It's a crime if you intentionally cause harm to somebody else. By definition, it's never been a crime. Not just when they say they're legalizing it, but forever. It's never been a crime. People have never been criminals that have behaved in that
And
way.
Trudeau wants to continue to treat us like criminals. So Trudeau is wrong. He needs to stop treating people who want to use cannabis like criminals. Just because we don't buy it from whoever you want us to buy it from, we should not be criminals for that. It's
I think
wrong.
they're trying to protect their asses from prosecution from past crimes because it's always been a crime to punish somebody for having cannabis or for selling cannabis.
But they can
that has
expunge.
always been a crime.
They can expunge people's records if they want to. They can make a, they don't have to.
But how many
And
times?
Trudeau
How many people are going to sue them then? And hopefully we're going to still sue them.
Going to sue them anyways, but
Yeah.
I'd sue them a hell of a lot more if they didn't do it than if they did. So no, this is ridiculous. Trudeau needs to listen to Cory Booker and listen. Indeed, we will do. Here, let's throw this video on. Where is he? Somewhere in here. We're gonna watch this video. This is Senator Cory Booker. He put out a little video. It's like 35 minutes long, and I implore everyone to watch the full thing. It's awesome. But
Are we gonna watch the full thing?
we're not. We're not gonna watch the full thing now. What did I do?
Okay, guys. Smart 150.
Oh, this is your favorite commercial.
I did something wrong there.
That's
Let me
your
try
favorite
that again.
commercial,
I
too.
hate those commercials. I know, it's Shaw. No. It's just because the thing changed here. Let's see. Did I get it that time? Nope, I missed it. There it is. Nice. Here he is.
Foremost, it deschedules marijuana from the list of controlled substances, thus making it no longer illegal in federal law. That to me is a very important step, but it is just a beginning. The next thing it does is retroactively expunges people who have been convicted for use and possession of marijuana. Remember, these are charges that follow people for the rest of their lives, making it difficult for them to do things that we take for granted, like applying for a taxi cab license, something you can't get in many states, even if your marijuana conviction was 10, 20, 30 years ago. Or people who can't vote in some states because of their federal marijuana charge. And so it also actually creates not only a retroactive expungement, but for people that are in prison right now for marijuana-related charges, it gives them an avenue to appeal to the courts to have their sentences reduced or eliminated. And then finally, because of the punishing of poor people, the wildly disproportionate effect on communities of color, often poor communities themselves, we create incentives for states, an incentive pool for states to change their laws, to stop continuing by enforcing the law in such an unjust manner. We believe that states should be moving in the same way, to legalize marijuana, to end racial disparities in enforcement of marijuana laws, and frankly, to end the disproportionate targeting of poor people. So this bill does a number of things that are critical. It creates not only incentives, but finally, the fourth thing I want you to know about the bill it creates a community reinvestment fund so that communities who have been disproportionately impacted for decades by marijuana laws, who have been devastated by marijuana laws and their unjust application, that they can apply for community reinvestment funds that would help with a number of things. That could help with job training, reentry services, expenses related to expungement and convictions, but also investing in things like public libraries and community centers and programs that are dedicated to youth. You see, it's not enough just to say, hey, marijuana is going to be illegal, let's move forward. We're going to be legalized, let's move forward. This has done serious damage to our communities. It's done serious damage to American families. And we need to make sure that we are not only making it legal on the federal level, not only moving states to do the same, but to start targeting on not only ending the racial disparities in incarceration and the targeting of poor people, but trying to do what I call restorative justice, finding ways to take communities that have been disproportionately impacted and helping them to heal, helping them to recover from what has been the unjust application of the law.
All right, we're back. So that's Cory Booker. You can watch the video in its entirety at his Facebook page, Cory Booker Facebook. If you type that in, go to the video section, you'll see it there. I'm going to put it in the show notes as soon as I get a second after the show. You guys can watch it. I'll make sure to do that. Will somebody remind me? Make sure to remind me to put that damn thing in the show notes. I'll do it right now. No, I won't. So, oh my God, I'm thirsty. Yum. Oh, I'll pass it that way. I'm still drinking. So, yeah, the Pride Parade was really fun. Sorry, it was a little too fast for you guys to see, but we will make sure that the other
And for those people on acid, you're welcome.
Yeah, for the people who are tripping out on acid, mushrooms, other cool drugs, enjoy.
It's like a whatchamacallit, when they bring the movie to theaters and then they let a special audience preview it.
Right.
You guys just, you know,
you got to preview the entire thing on fast.
Unedited.
Yeah.
Well,
that's fun.
edited, but not to completion yet. The final version will be a lot easier to see and will be uploaded to pot.tv very soon.
Yes. And good work on that. And thanks for putting the video. The video was good and the music was dope. You did a good job. It
was so fast. I didn't realize it was going to be that fast. And there's no way to really tell when you're editing the videos how fast it's going to be. Because it doesn't show you until after you're done. And so... And I literally finished about 3 minutes after the show started.
So...
But the music's fun to dance to.
We have more videos. I'm really high,
videos.
but there's all these videos right now in the press, the Canadian press, about Canada becoming a weedified, like small towns where Tweed is bringing in their chocolate factory and marijuana producing plant. You know, pardon me, in Smith Falls. And
does that mean
you should explain that a little bit, because that was unclear to the people who don't know.
Does that mean Spring Falls is going to have more incidents of people using weed because Tweed's there?
Well, you mentioned the chocolate factory, and for people who don't know, that might be a
in
little
Smith
confusing.
Falls, where Tweed has its Willy Wonka pot factory. Well, it's actually a former Hershey factory. It's where they made chocolate bars until it went out of business there or whatever, and Tweed eventually took it over. So that's where they make the Tweed weed in a big old chocolate factory. Which would be
sad.
really cool. It would be really awesome, and I really like that idea, and it's pretty kick-ass if it wasn't Tweed.
You know what? I'm
And
looking
the fact
at
that it's
Alyssa
Tweed
here
just
because
makes
I know
it total-
she grew up in
it's sad.
near the same area as me, and I loved going to that factory. It really was like a little Willy Wonka's factory. They had like the most interactive tour, and all the areas of the factory had really like fun and colorful things set up. There was like so much candy during the tour and at the end of the tour, and it was amazing. And when I think of that factory, I think of some of my like happiest childhood memories, and it just puts the worst taste in my mouth that one of the most like corrupt companies now in the country.
Well, be careful. Be careful.
Sorry, yeah.
You can't. Corrupt is a harsh word. You don't want to put yourself in a position of being actionable. But I would say what it looks like is, I would say
Unethical.
Yeah. Well, they're just.
To lobby against dispensaries is unethical.
Unethical, you can say.
Unethical. One of the most unethical companies.
Yes, unethical. That is absolutely. And maybe that is a type of corruption. So that's even arguable.
You know, but to me, it's just I don't know.
They're corrupt because
frustrating.
They would prefer to profit than help other people. They're profiting instead of, actually at the expense of their competition. They want to criminalize their competition. They're happy to watch the people who are their competition go to jail because they're criminals, but yet it's okay for them to do it. But because they played by the rules, so this is what they thrive on.
And how much of their staff
that's their whole thing.
Were doing exactly what we were doing illegally until they were lucky enough to have somebody who has like a government approved business come in and offer them a job. Like,
no, they've spent all these millions of dollars on getting their license, and they damn well don't want anybody else to be allowed to do it if they had to pay $1 million to do it. And so
the problem is that they've only got that license and the ability to do that because of all those people that were willing to break the law and set up dispensaries and get access to people. I mean, ahead of time.
Yeah, we've been fighting for a
those
long
people are
time.
being left out of the program and still going to be criminalized and targeted. So
and when the LPs are allowed to start selling like, edibles and extracts on like a larger scale, again, all that profit they're going to be making, it's because people were saying, no, we're not going to stop selling we're not going to stop selling edibles at the dispensaries. No, we're not going to stop selling extracts. So again, they're just going to be dipping their toes into more stuff. And again, it's going to be right from our community. That's going to be the reason they're able to make those profits.
Yep.
We need to stop these harsh regulations that are excluding people and making it so difficult to get access and keeping the price up there. Cannabis is the most benign substance in nature. It's the safest therapeutically active compound known to man. Fruits and vegetables are all regulated, and so should cannabis be, but it is safer than those products and should be regulated accordingly. So that's what's got to change. That's what
farmers markets should be allowed.
Absolutely. People should be able to make cannabis, grow cannabis, and do what they want with it. And if they can make some money because somebody likes what they've got on a family and friend level, well, that's up to them. That should be fine. On a commercial level, some more regulations, because that's the world we live in. That's going to happen. But regulations that make sense, not regulating it like it's some sort of an explosive or it's
They treat it like
contagious.
it's plutonium.
Yeah, exactly.
They treat it like it's something that needs to be all fall. We need to have a trace, blah, 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 all this kind of crazy shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And
we got to track everything.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And they're talking about safety and that there's some mold and pesticide issues, and there is, and there have been, but they're minor issues compared to the issues of other products in our society.
There's pesticide issues because they're forcing these growers, the big LPs, to grow in these massive factories and to have all these regulations. And so, of course, you're going to get and they force them to have 0 microbe levels.
I would rather have
microbes. So you can't really do that. I'd rather have, of course, you'd rather have the microbes than having some crazy pesticides that they put into the plants, which they do, and they use illegal pesticides, which cause hydrogen cyanide off gas.
Yeah.
Unlike all the other things out there,
not good.
especially in the world of drugs, there's no bodies on slabs. There's no hospital wards with people that are suffering from any of the consequences of any of these things, even if there was some contamination on some of the weed that's there. The only problem ever with cannabis is if you smoke too much of a swag weed, you could end up with chronic bronchitis. And that's about it. Under normal circumstances. Like you say, with the big producers, there's some more issues to do with these things, these pesticides and that. But the average person is just growing cannabis, or they got a co-op going, or something like that, or there's small-time growers growing for dispensaries. They're very careful about not having mold. They don't want any mites. They don't want anything. They're using natural methods because they care about what they're doing. And as you mentioned before, Jeremiah, that's the issue. These licensed producers don't care. By nature, they are corporations. It's bottom line profits that they're after. That's what they're looking looking at is money over patients, money over what people actually are consuming with respect to their actual medicine that they want. That's why craft growers, that's why small-time growers that care about the people and what they're producing is the way to go, and they need to be included in this marketplace in the future, for sure. Certainly not criminalized.
Right, and people have been smoking without testing of marijuana for, infinity,
Thousands.
essentially. There has
Thousands.
never been testing of marijuana. So it's not, I just, this whole idea that every piece of marijuana has to be tested before you can smoke or buy it, I think is absolutely lunacy as well. Because you don't really, you can tell when something's
You
wrong
give it
with
a
pot.
sniff and you look at it.
Yeah,
That's,
you can
most
see
of
with
it.
your eyes. But there is something to be said for pesticides that are used. And what if people are getting sick, that's one thing. But that hasn't happened. The only time that's ever happened in pot's fucking history is when it's these assholes putting it in there. Is
Yeah.
when these corporations get their hands on it. The only time cannabis has ever hurt people in the history of cannabis is when the Canadian cannabis LPs got their hands on it.
Yeah.
And I've actually
is sad.
I've talked to a couple of people, patients lately, who've talked to me after discussing this type of stuff on the show, who are patients and they were using LP weed, and the actual symptoms that you get from smoking cannabis that has hydrogen cyanide off gas are pretty awful. Like, if you try it once, I know people have experimented in our community and stuff, a couple of times you might not have an effect, but there's a lot of people who go, I don't know what was wrong, but when I started smoking the weed from this licensed producer, it was like having the worst stomach flu I'd ever had in my life. I was constantly sick to my stomach. I couldn't keep any food in my body, barely had an appetite. I lost tons of weight. One person actually told me they lost 68 pounds over the period of a few months because of getting so sick. And as soon as they started smoking less of the LP weed and they started switching to more black market stuff, they started feeling a bit better. So they switched off all the LP stuff and they're fine. They're back in good health. So it's taking people who
LP
are
weed is
already
bad weed.
sick and making them more sick. And that's what Health Canada has approved these companies, and they're not
No, I
penalizing
don't
them for
trust them.
breaking the rules that are making sick people more
I
sick.
don't trust them at all. And right now, Dana is on CKNW duking it out with one of the
For
LP
about
guys.
4 more minutes.
and
Maybe we should
that-
just tune in for the last one.
Nah, you can't, unfortunately. We can't really stream their content.
I was listening to a bit of that.
Neil was listening.
The LP guy would have said to Carly's comments that there's like 13 incidents of these recalls that have happened, and like 7 of them are to do with labeling and not to do with the pesticides, but there were those ones, blah, blah, blah. So it's not like all their weed is bad. They are growing weed. They are supplying a fair amount of weed. You can't trust them is the thing, and you shouldn't be forced into buying off of them is the thing. And people that care about their health and care about their weed shouldn't be forced to buy off of corporate industries. That's it.
No, it's bullshit.
If you were to say that to me, I would inform him that I've read the recall letters that they released. And it was actually Chris Goodwin released one of the letters that one of his, it was, I don't want to say the name because I could get it wrong, but I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I won't say just in case. And the list of strains that had to be recalled because of possible contamination was about this long. And it was essentially every single strain on their menu that possibly has this chemical. And when it first started happening, the thing was the companies didn't even tell everyone. It called some people and they're like, oh, we think there was something, a nutrient that we didn't need to spray accidentally mixed into the nutrients. And then eventually in one phone call, they accidentally slipped the name of the myclobutanol. And then somebody was like, this doesn't seem right. And then it opened up this whole barrel of worms with the Globe News, or Globe and Mail.
Yeah, that's not good.
So it's
That's
pretty
really crazy.
sketchy stuff.
It is sketchy, and Health Canada didn't act fast enough.
They didn't really act at all.
Right.
And that's where regulation is needed. I mean, that's what you want, are regulations against doing that very thing and things
Right.
like that.
Exactly.
Especially when it comes to the medical industry. When it comes to something like recreational, it's different. I think it would be understandable to not worry about the microbe count with recreational
Well, and
cannabis,
home-
but when it comes
and
to
home
home growing, exactly,
Personal
people
growing.
home grow.
There's
So
millions
will
of
make it
people growing their
impossible.
own weed. I mean, are these people all going to be regulated by Health Canada? Are they going to have to get their weed checked before they can smoke it,
Yeah.
or they're in trouble or something? I mean,
But
this
if
is all
somebody's
ludicrous,
sick,
you know?
if somebody's sick and they need their cannabis to be of a certain quality, then they're sick and they need their cannabis to be of a certain quality, or they need it to be the strain that it's supposed to be, or they, and they need it to be clean. Somebody who's already sick can't afford to lose a ton of weight very, very quickly because the people who the government gave the stamp of okay to decided to get lazy and spray a bunch of chemicals on something that otherwise is perfectly good on its own.
And this is the court rulings. This is what our court rulings have been all the way through. The courts have been saying people need to have reasonable access to cannabis. You can get your hardcore pills easy. You go to the doctor,
easy.
you tell him there's something wrong with you. He writes you out on a piece of paper. You go downstairs. Within an hour, you got toxic, hardcore chemical drugs.
It's way easier to get synthetic cannabis in Canada than it is to get an actual prescription for cannabis. You can get the pills with all sorts of side effects prescribed to you much easier than you can get a doctor to approve you getting the actual natural substance.
Yeah, and that's why the courts keep on ruling. This is bullshit.
Just looking at the chat here. Maybe we have a chat cam. Oh, we do. Look, Freddie is there. Freddie, Pot TV's The Weed King, now Tuesdays on Pod TV, has his own show. He was talking about Dana duking it out with Dan Sutton of Tantalus Labs and writer for Lyft. And yeah, Lyft is kind of like this, it's a news website and stuff that's kind of friendly to the LPs, and they have their Lyft expos that are, you have a bunch of the guys from the LPs and stuff there. Oh, I look hardcore Moby Dick. I do,
love that.
actually.
That's so
I
good.
do. This is the YouTube chat. But yes, it's true. Dana was on CKNW duking it out. People were saying that it was good. But then this guy, or Kalex Yukon, that debate blew my mind. Those outside the legal system can lie in the bed they made. That's what, and Jody called in. That's what these guys are saying, apparently. They can lie in the bed they made. Ooh. The bed we made for them, you mean, that helped them become something and get legalized in the first place? There would be no LPs if it wasn't for us fighting.
The bed only exists because of us.
That.
And if we have to lie in the bed we made, then I'm cool with that. We can lie in that bed. That's the bed we made. It's a good bed. It's a bed full of cannabis, full of weed.
It's the bed that
with
provided the way for those
without all
LPs.
this chemical spray
It's a
on
world
it.
that includes
What
cannabis.
a
My
dickish
world
thing to
includes
say.
cannabis.
What a dick. Sorry.
Well,
Straight up, I don't care.
they
These guys
obviously
are-
don't know how comfortable our bed is.
Yeah. These guys, like the idea that they think they're just going to be able to swoop in and use the law like that we've been fighting for so long. In Canada since 1923, there's been a prohibition on marijuana. And like, it's just unbelievable. And now we have, let's see here. I got more videos. So let's keep it on the subject of the LPs at the moment. I've got some videos. One from Muskoka, good old Muskoka, Ontario. And that there's an
Is that
LP.
your Ontario accent?
I don't know. Not really. It'd be way worse. It's like at the bar. I'll meet you down at the bar.
At least we don't say salsa, like you
Salsa.
do in the
Salsa.
West Coast.
Salsa.
That's not how you say it. It's not a Z.
Salsa.
You sound so American.
Salsa.
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 So, and there's also one about this Smith Falls, the chocolate factory one, and about how it saved the town, came to the rescue of the town. Should we watch that one first? Let's do that. And I am very Moby Dick right now. Okay, we're gonna watch this one and
It
see.
makes me
what
sad. I wish it was still the Hershey factory.
All
Made me
right.
way happier than Tweed.
Let's watch the tweedness. Here's the tweedness. Enjoy. Oh, how's this work? I'm gonna press the button. We might get some advertisement for a minute or two.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to enjoy a video that's like
Oh,
pro
Purina's Fancy Feast.
Tweed.
Oh, look, is that
Now
Morris?
that lovable feline is your ticket to winning $10,000.
Lovable feline.
Enter the Cat Foodie contest.
Cat Foodie.
At catfoodie.ca.
Oh, there you go. They're
Fancy
getting some
feast
good ads
for the
here.
cat foodie.
Munchies.
Cat foodie. Here you go.
Our future won't be the past. I mean, we're not going to be the blue-collar industrial town that we once were.
4 years ago, the town of Smiths Falls took a chance welcoming
Is there no volume?
to town.
Now there's no volume. I thought it was just a cool long stride.
It took over
But
what
I don't
used to
hear any
house a Hershey
sound.
chocolate factory.
Today?
Fast forward to today, and
we watched it earlier and it had
parking lot
sound.
is busting at the seams. What started
sort of
out as a
problem.
few dozen jobs has bloomed
No,
into a
no, we
few
can hear it.
hundred, including
If
a
we can't hear it, they
call
can't hear it,
center.
right? They can hear it? Oh, I switched it off. Uh-oh. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Okay, I didn't know. We couldn't hear it. Yeah. We gotta head it up just a minute, Jake. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Here's Tweed saving Smith Falls. So you guys can hear it out there. I wonder why we can't hear it. That's so odd. Oh, now we get another commercial. Oh, look at this guy.
What's this one about?
Have you heard the call of the mermaid? What is this?
White
Rock? Oh, it's a White Rock luxury condo ad. Cool. All right, here it is.
I mean, we're not going to be the blue-collar industrial town that we once were.
4 years ago, the town of Smiths Falls took a chance welcoming Tweed Inc. to town, which is in the business of medical cannabis. It took over what used to house a Hershey chocolate factory. Fast forward to today, and a once empty parking lot is busting at the seams. What started out as a few dozen jobs has bloomed into a few hundred, including a client call center, growing rooms, packaging rooms, and a distribution center.
And what that means to the town is huge, is we're already in the business development side, working with a number of companies that want to support that cluster and that development.
Its employee base is likely to keep growing as legalization of recreational cannabis use nears.
We're always hiring. We've got over 70 job openings right now on our site. I think the busiest people in our business are the HR people.
It's going to be legal. It's going to be there. It's going to be something that people are going to be consuming on a regular basis, and the day may come when it's as commonplace as alcohol.
In a matter of years, Tweed has expanded the number of growing rooms at Hershey Drive from 3 to 24. That's led to on-site production of cannabis oils and eventually edibles, including chocolate bars, which means the story of the old Hershey factory will have come full circle. Over that time, the company has quickly become the town's biggest employer and could one day match the number of workers employed by Hershey at its peak. Expansion plans announced earlier this summer means the company will have a footprint as far west as Alberta and as far east as New Brunswick.
Our origin story starts in the Hershey chocolate factory here. We're proud that this is our headquarters, and that'll never change.
Paul Soucy, CKWS News, Smiths Falls.
Sorry. Can't hear it. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah.
Get rid of Tweed. Bring back the candy.
Good old Tweed. Bring back the Hershey's. We want a chocolate factory back. So that's the old Smith Falls one. Now here's Muskoka. Remember that song? But that's Muskogee I'm thinking of.
Oh,
we
I was
don't
like,
smoke marijuana.
I like there's a Muskoka beer I like. I can't remember the name, but there's a Muskoka Brewing Company, I think it is.
Well, now there's going to be
good.
a weed company too.
Well, let's find out about that.
Shall we? Let's find out.
We shall.
Uh-oh. Oh, where is it here? Dun, 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 dun.
I'm going to take
it's
a
on
dab
one
while
of
you
these
get this
tabs.
set up.
Oh, somewhere here. Oh no, now we lost it. Hold on a sec, everybody. Here's we're trying here. Oh, Explorer. Oh, there it is. That's the one. Okay. No. That's the one. There we go. All right, enjoy.
It's set
Or
to be a
don't.
medical marijuana facility on a grand scale.
It's an amazing structure, and to see it in person really underlines how significant a project this is going to be for both the company and for the community here in Bracebridge.
Along with using local construction crews, once operational, the Muskoka Medical Marijuana Company will hire about 100 staff.
Small towns have a harder time, I think, in today's economy, and we need opportunities to create jobs, and this is going to be a direct job creator.
The company's CEO, David Grand's family, has roots in Muskoka, so growing here is a natural fit.
Coming into a small town, I think it's really important that you use the local businesses as much as you can.
In just a few months, this two-story building will have a very different interior.
We anticipate on doing about 2,000 kilograms annually on the first floor of the building, and then we can expand to the second floor down the road.
Health Canada estimates at the end of 2016, more than 130,000 Canadians were using medical marijuana. Gran says licensed producers are struggling to keep up with the demand, so he's already preparing for an expansion.
So we've just announced that we have acquired behind me another 40 acres. Basically, we can put in perspective, we can put up 3 Home Depots on that land.
While the province hasn't decided how it will regulate the production and sale of recreational pot, he's preparing for that too.
And I think obviously with the Muskoka name, the fresh air, the clean water and so forth, it'll obviously help us sell a lot of product, we hope.
The company plans to do its hiring over the next few months, and they expect to have plants growing right here by the end of the year. Heather Butts, CTV News, Bracebridge.
Oh, nice. So, LPs are coming to the rescue of all the communities in Canada. We're going to set up factories everywhere.
Or weed is.
I don't know, guys. What do you think
Some
provides
quality pot.
more jobs? The LP community in, like, let's say somewhere like Smith Falls, or the organic activist cannabis community that's existed, like,
I only
let's say
smoke
in
organic
Vancouver? Which do you
activists.
think would provide more jobs? Like the kind of self-regulated model we've got going on here in Vancouver, or that government LP job creation?
After the construction is over and those jobs are over, then there's less jobs, obviously, in a large-scale operation than there is on the smaller, for sure.
So if municipalities were looking to, use this cannabis boom, if you will, to increase, activity in their area, jobs, tourism, that kind of thing, wouldn't it be easier to just encourage the municipal police in your area to stop cracking down on dispensaries? You'd get tourists in the area, jobs would be provided, you could use your law enforcement energy and resources towards way more important crimes. So
You remind me of Lisa Simpson on that episode with the McGriff the crime dog.
Thank you.
Yeah, let demand drive supply, make the regulations easy, allow it to be inclusive and easily accessible for everybody. As governments, they're not there, they have no mandate to stifle business, they're there to facilitate business. There's a huge marketplace that wants cannabis. There's a bunch of good people that are willing to supply that cannabis. That should be allowed to happen organically and fluidly, and the least impediment to that, the better. That's when a society is working properly. What's going on here is our society is being used as pawns by the corporate elite and our governments as puppets to get the corporate elite what they want, and that's to monopolize as best they can what we consume. And this is what's going on. It's just so obvious. I'm sure there's going to be lots of news and documentaries made about this transition period over the next number of years here, as these people are exposed for what they are, and they're criminals in their attempt to deny people the use and the value of this natural plant that belongs to all of us and should not be restricted by anybody. What kind of a bully tells a person that they don't have proper access to something that can help them with their painful or debilitating medical conditions?
His name is Justin Trudeau.
Yeah, in this case, he's the puppet in charge right now, just as his father was, just as Harper was. They're all just puppets in control for the corporate elite to force us into not having access to what we would use instead of what they want to provide. It's criminal. It's heinous. It's one of the worst crimes. When you put on, how do we determine a crime in this society of ours? We first prove that it actually happened with proper evidence that puts on one side of a set of scales. And then the other side of the scale is where the penalty tries to balance that. Well, the damage done to society by these corporate giants, by denying access to sick people to a medicine, and forcing us to use fossil fuels, and forcing us to use alcohol, and
preach on it, Neil.
Wood waste for paper and for toilet paper, and all of these.
Neil,
things.
you should be a pot activist.
Yeah, I'm getting serious here. I might
should
have
be
to
a pot
quit
activist.
my job is being a pot. Okay, so I can't quit that one.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
you're
that's
right,
why,
though.
that's why this job is still happening. That's why we're still doing this, because this is still going on. This heinous crime against us as people is being perpetrated today, and they want to continue it with their agendas of control and restrict. And yeah, it's still horrible. With what's going on with
Another
the opioid
H word.
crisis. Let's talk about the opioid crisis. People are dying all across North America because they're forced onto opioids. Instead of being able to use cannabinoid-based medicines, they're forced onto opioids. there's a bunch of factors as to how they end up there. The people on the streets, the people that are the poor and the down and out, and the drug addicts that are dying, and they're not the only ones by any means, but this whole fentanyl crisis is all driven by prohibition.
It's true.
It's all prohibition that's caused all of this. They're killing people. Now they
Yeah,
come out and
this
say that there's
fentanyl thing is
fentanyl
just
in weed.
insane.
That's a horrible crime. That person should be hung by their toes till they die. I mean, what a horrible thing to say. That there's
Jeez,
fentanyl
Neil.
in weed.
Settle down, Neil.
Well, it's a horrible crime. What's the penalty for a horrible crime like that? If you've
Well,
got-
usually in Canada, it's not being hung by your toes till you die.
Well, I can't think of much worse. Maybe by their penis if they're a man. You know, but I mean,
That's heinous.
This escalated so
people
Neil,
are
that's
they
heinous.
killing with that? These are murderers. They're murderers. They have the public's respect and the media's ear, and they have the gall to say that watch out for cannabis, boy. It could have fentanyl in it.
Uh-oh.
Fuck them. I mean,
It's true.
cannabis is a safe
Neil,
alternative.
settle down, Neil.
Well, they're killing people. I mean, how
It's
mad
true.
do I have to get about it? They're killing people.
They're calling for you now,
Cannabis is
Neil.
a safe alternative to these killer drugs on the streets right now, and they should not be scaring people off of going to cannabis as a substitute and an alternative for what's going on here
I
right
agree
now.
with you.
So I'm really horrified about these comments coming out of London, Ontario, by their health consultant, whoever that person is
Yeah.
that's in charge there, and making these comments. It was one person that failed a urine test. They're heroin addicts that said they weren't using heroin, and one of them had fentanyl in their urine and swore
wait a
up and
sec.
down that they weren't using
Wait
the
a sec,
opioids.
Neil. You don't know that person was a heroin addict.
Yes,
Could
I
it-
do.
How do you know?
That's what the whole thing is about.
No.
The article, that's what that
Well,
was
wait,
about.
hold on,
They
hold on,
tested
hold on.
the urine of some heroin addicts who said they
No.
weren't using heroin anymore, and they found fentanyl in one of them, and that is what was the basis of this fear-mongering
Right.
that supports the whole reefer
But those
madness
people
agenda and trying to keep people from
But those
using
people said
cannabis.
they weren't using heroin, and so we have to.
said they weren't.
They said they weren't using heroin.
But
exactly.
they were former heroin addicts.
So you can't say. Well, okay, former heroin addicts. Yes.
That's exactly what it was. They
That's
were
an
people
important
that had been
distinction.
using heroin, and now they said they weren't using heroin,
Right.
and they were in this group, and they were being tested for that. And the one person said,
Right,
"Oh
it's
no,
probably-
I didn't use any." Well, you
It
know,
may be a test of how honest they are, but
Yeah.
they could have been exposed to it in some other way.
they
so
certainly could
You
have.
can't.
To,
You can't.
to say that it's in the cannabis is
can't-
highly irresponsible. It's very
Right.
negligent in today's world, where I'm involved with this program. We're trying to provide cannabis as a substitute, and it horrifies me that they would be making these comments about the potential for cannabis to be, laced with harmful, dangerous drugs. It just
Well,
isn't
I think if
happening.
you just look at
Yep.
it, it's just illogical on every level for anyone to include fentanyl in cannabis. It literally doesn't make any sense.
None.
The feeling that you get from fentanyl isn't the same as what you get from cannabis. So if somebody were to smoke weed and have the feeling of fentanyl creep up on them, they wouldn't enjoy that. They wouldn't go back to a dealer. And anyone who
probably
sells
call the
weed,
police.
yeah, anyone who sells weed knows that. So nobody would go risk way more jail time, risk
Killing their customer.
risk killing their customers, go out of their way to go get a pill, and then you can't even dose a plant like that with
It'd be
fentanyl because it's
difficult,
microscopic, the amounts that you use.
Crazy.
So it's just,
Nobody
it
wants
doesn't
fentanyl in their weed,
actually
and nobody wants
make
to put it in
any
anybody's
sense
weed.
at
Oh, speak
all.
for
It's
yourself. I love
illogical.
smoking the Fenties. Let's spark up some Fenties, yo.
And speaking of that, I'd like to talk for just
ridiculous.
a minute about this project that I got going on. It's the
Yeah.
Cannabis Substitution Project. It's really taken off as we knew it would. Who knew, giving out free weed to people would be a hit. But especially this community on the downtown east side that suffers so many physical barriers and other barriers in their life that cannabis is effective for helping with. And so we've got this program going on, the Cannabis Substitution Project. You can check us out on Facebook. We've got the Cannabis Substitution Project group there. Please join the group and pay attention to what's going on here. It's catching on all over. There's lots of studies underway right now, because of what we're doing here and because it's becoming very apparent that cannabis can be an effective substitute for these harmful street drugs that people are using, including alcohol. And so, we're doing that. We'll be at the Legend Valley Music Festival coming up here. We'll have a booth there.
Yes,
we'll have a bunch
sir.
of handouts. And I want to say that they were kind enough to give us a couple of tickets to this event. The Legend Valley in Comox coming up on the 25th, 26th, 27th. It's a weekend pass. I have one left, actually, because I got full price for the one, and I agreed to let that go. I only thought I'd get about half price for them. They're worth about $210 a piece. I got one left. You can message me, Neil Magnuson, on Facebook or through Cannabis Culture, but probably Neil Magnuson on Facebook, through the Substitution Project group if you can't find me. and let me know if you want to buy this ticket. I'm going to hold it until next Friday. And whatever is the highest bid, if you contact me, I'll let you know what the highest bid is at that point. If you want to beat that bid, then that's great. All the money will go to the Cannabis Substitution Project, and we're saving lives and making lives better here in Vancouver. So thanks for letting me talk about that.
Very good work on that.
And the Legends Valley Music Festival, that's going to be really cool too. Thanks for talking about that.
Yep, and Carly's a celebrity judge.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
At the Legends Valley Music Festival.
I will be there. Excited.
Neil's going to be there singing on stage.
Yeah, singing and speaking and other things like that. So
yelling at the crowd.
Judging weed.
Shaking his fist really hard.
Yeah, well.
That's an important part. You got to shake that fist, God damn it.
You know, I try to be effective. That's what, you know, you try to be results oriented, and you don't want your anger to derail anything that's positive. But certainly I'm motivated by being very upset with this situation of prohibition and the damage it's been causing for all these years and continuing to do today. So.
Well, our chatters really appreciated your discussion on the topic. In fact, one of them actually said, "Kneel for PM."
Yeah.
So
I'd vote for Neil.
I got to feel that on the parade, at the Pride Parade.
Yeah.
That's
He's like,
awesome.
so this is what it's like to be Prime Minister.
The power is amazing. You look at all those tax dollars out there in the crowd, you know, you see every one of them's got a dollar sign on their head, and like, I own your ass. You'll do what I tell you. I make a law, you'll have to do it. I got all these cops helping me do that. It's powerful, man.
It was funny
you need to be a
when
very
first...
disciplined and good person if you're going to be in that position.
Yeah.
And that's what he sold himself as, and that's not what he's proving himself to be. He's proving himself to be a corporate shill who doesn't give a shit that he's arresting people day after day after day. I don't know how many hundreds of days he's into his mandate here, but how many people have been arrested. Every one of those arrests is a horrible event in that person's life, in that family's life, and he should stop doing that immediately, because it's proven that these prohibitions, the attempt to prohibit, is causing far more harm than the drugs ever could or ever would. That's what the Senate decided in 2002, and it's time we stopped it. Once they concluded that, it should have been over. They can rethink how they want to stop people from harming themselves and their society with dangerous drugs, because that's a phenomenon in our culture and in our society that happens. But they can't be doing it by prohibiting it and using law enforcement and criminalizing people, because they are harming people, and the crimes continue to build. And that's what I say, you know, when you put on one side of that set of scales how much damage is done. When you're in that position of power, you are walking on eggshells. You are in a highly volatile and fragile position. You've got to make sure you don't hurt people. And these laws have been hurting people, and we've known it for a long time.
And they're going to continue to hurt people.
Criminals, in my opinion.
They're going to continue to hurt people if they don't make sensible ones like the ones Cory Booker is talking about.
Yeah.
They should suspend at least the drug war and the attempt to prohibit immediately,
and then go
from there.
Right away.
Immediately stop spending our tax dollars harming Canadians.
So
they're not helping anything.
There's a study now, or the University of New Brunswick is establishing a research chair to study the medicinal effects of cannabis. This is from CTV Atlantic. We're going to watch a video here. Oh, yeah. Here we are. Check this one out. I have to move this out of the way of the screen. But yes. There he is. Look at that CTV journalist there. He's ready to tell us.
I like his show background.
You like his background? It's not bad. He's got like that cool little glass table there. What's going on in the background? It looks like
It looks like my show background almost.
Looks like the back alley of CTV back there behind him on the other side, behind his left shoulder or his right shoulder.
Personal garden.
Okay, let's see. We'll probably get an ad on this one. No, here we go. Here it is. Uh-oh.
Cannabis. And as CTV's Mary Cranston tells us tonight, the chair could help place New Brunswick as the leader of the marijuana industry in Canada.
We can ensure that the best and safest treatment options are available to patients.
It's something the New Brunswick government has been working on since the feds announced pot was going to be legalized by July of next year. How to establish a thriving marijuana industry.
We are fairly ahead of the game across the board on this particular file, and I think it's going to serve us well.
Today, the province's Health Research Foundation and Tetra Biopharma announced they will be investing $1 million to establish a new research chair in cannabis at the University of New Brunswick.
It's moving in an area which we currently don't have at UNB. and it's allowing us the opportunity to partner with a growing industry in New Brunswick and in Canada.
The chair will focus primarily on the medicinal value of marijuana. Health Minister Victor Boudreau says more research is needed to better understand the drug.
There's not a whole lot of research that does exist in that regards, despite the fact we have physicians across Canada and across the world that prescribe it.
This private dispensary owner knows the effects medical marijuana can have on his clients.
Well, this is going to help understand the effects, and it's also going to give confidence to the people that cannabis is here to stay, and it is a medicine.
UNB is in the process of putting out an internal call for nominations. The new chair should be announced by April 2018. Mary Cranston, CTV. Now, this is the second chair to be created at a post-secondary institution in the province. St. Thomas University in Fredericton will also have a chair that will look into the social and medical implications of using marijuana. Steve.
Interesting. Thank you, Mary. CTV's Mary Cranston reporting tonight from Fredericton.
There we go. So there you go. They're establishing a research chair for medical marijuana. It's only, we've only had medical marijuana in Canada since 2001. They're finally getting around to doing it.
The Chinese didn't know nothing about it medically, I guess, 3,000 years ago.
Right. Now, anyways, I'm not.
Was it ever not
party.
medical marijuana?
I don't want to be
really.
a party pooper. I'm glad they're doing it now. Better late
Sure.
than never.
The more the better. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Study the hell out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Stats
So,
are great. We
what
love
about
stats.
another dab? What do you think?
Yeah, this one's good.
Dab. I wouldn't mind having a dab. And then what? Do we have another vid, or did I? Oh, there is something. Global chairman. What is this? Oh yeah. This is this one about. See, I wanted to get into this whole local governments debating marijuana, how old people are allowed to be to smoke it, so on and so forth. There's going to be all these local municipal rules and provincial rules, and everybody's going to have a crack at it. And you're going to have all these backwater politicians up there being like, "We're going to have to ban it for rabbit there. So we got to." The percentages are too much. They're going to be like putting limits on THC percentages and things like this. You're going to see all kinds of crazy stuff. Yes. Though you're going to, and it's already started because you have all these provincial governments fighting over. I was just reading this article by the guy who used to work for the Liberals in Ontario. He was like one of the health minister's guys or whatever. And, he was talking about how, if the dispensary people think they're going to have any shot, they're out of their minds because they're never going to allow anybody with a criminal record to be in the business.
Unlike in Oakland, where they're actually having a program designed for people with criminal records to do with cannabis to be involved in the industry. They're more knowledgeable, and it turns out it wasn't a crime in the first place.
They need to listen to Cory Booker and what he said. Expunge. We're not criminals. We should be allowed to be part of the thing we created.
Absolutely.
They have to stop treating us like criminals. Trudeau still wants to treat us like criminals. We're not.
Free to obey is not
It's a plant.
what this is supposed to be
Sorry,
about.
but I'm a fucking flower child. I'm not a criminal. I'm going to smoke my weed. I like my flowers. You can throw me in prison. You can do anything you want to me. I will never be separated from my flowers. And people should have access to them.
Especially now since they've got those drones that are going to be flying over prisons.
Right,
so
prison.
easy, just dropping it off all the time, right?
I guess I have nothing to worry about even if I go to jail. According to the union, the jails will be full of LP weed, I guess.
Well, it's already full of black market weed.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
I'd be so pissed if I got black.
We're seeing more reefer madness. We should have like a reefer madness scale, and we should have articles on the show where we rate them on a scale of insane to totally fucking
Put to a
bugged
laugh
nuts.
track.
Yes.
Put to a laugh track for sure.
Exactly.
Freddie's got the pace cam on his show, the Great Canadian Smoke Show, Tuesdays here. He's got the pace cam. When you get a little bit hot under the collar, you can get up out of your chair and walk in front of the camera and vent. So I like that a lot.
That's cool.
But yeah, we need to have comedians making fun of these laws, and we need to have angry people getting angry about these things. It's past due now. Trudeau came in wanting gender equality in the legislature in Ottawa and said it was 2015. Well, it's 2017 now, and it's high time that we stop the bullshit with respect to these ridiculous, archaic, and harmful attempted prohibitions on these drugs and plant medicines. So. Yeah, long overdue. They become more and more culpable to penalties, in my opinion, every day that it goes on. They can be put on warning, as far as I'm concerned. I have been putting them on warning for a long time, that there will be a price to pay down the road. The truth is coming out. These laws have never been right. They've never been in the public's interest, and they've been seriously harming the public. The resulting of gangs. We've got gangland shootings all over the place as well going on right now, all driven by drug prohibition. These are drug gangs. They're luring our kids into drugs. You got this idiot on CKNW, I'm not even going to say his name, that gets on there and keeps saying harsher penalties, catch these people, lock them up. Well, that doesn't work. This is what we've been showing all the way through. You cannot arrest your way out of this. Every time you arrest a drug dealer, there's 3 other guys that are going to create violence amongst themselves to figure out who gets that job. It's not something you can arrest your way out of. It's not something you can penalize your way out of. You have to end the prohibition. You have to give the people what they're demanding. It's all driven by demand. Canadians demand drugs. That's the way it is. Get used to it. Get over it. We're using them. We like them. When they're used properly, they're of benefit. When they're not used properly, we can have programs for that. We can educate people about that. Most people don't want to use their drugs improperly, whatever it is, whether it's fentanyl or weed or mushrooms or white sugar. Doesn't matter. Most people aren't trying to kill themselves, aren't trying to use it improperly. They're trying to find what works for them, and they should be allowed and not skewed by this whole attempt to prohibit certain drugs in favor of other drugs, when it's the legal drugs that are the dangerous ones that are causing us problems, and the illegal ones would be way better than those legal ones, especially if they weren't having this whole criminal regime around them. So.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And we're getting a little off topic here, but yes, I was trying to steer us to local municipalities and everybody choosing.
Dealing with shootings and fentanyl deaths.
There's lots of, Neil is getting riled
It's a local issue.
Yeah. Neil hasn't been smoking the indica these days. He's been smoking a lot of sativa.
He's
been getting all
I'm
riled.
experiencing overload of bullshit is what it is, right?
Yes, it's true.
And now, like you say, these municipalities in these different areas are going to try to regulate under what their own ideas of what's right and wrong.
Mayor Tory wants Toronto to get a share of pot revenues. According to the Star.
There's revenues from having legal pot, because legal pot offsets the use of more costly things in our environment. It reduces hospital visits. It reduces opioid overdoses. It makes a healthier, happier population. There's going to be money to these municipalities by having legal weed. There's going to be bars set up and consumption lounges and dispensaries, and they're all going to pay taxes of some sort, even though they should really be getting subsidies, because what they're doing is helping the community and offsetting these other things.
We're going to have to go to Tokyo Smoke.
Tokyo Smoke?
That'll be the only place you can go to. Yeah, and buy tweed weed or Afria or whatever.
So my opinion, or my advice to these municipalities would be, young people need weed too if they have medical conditions that they need to have something to help them with. If they're getting pharmaceutical drugs for whatever it is that's wrong with them, cannabis should be tried first, because it's a safer alternative with less side effects that could very well be effective for what's going on with them. They should have access to that. As for commercial sales of personal use, recreational type weed, that should start at 16 in dispensaries. Prior to that, it should be up to the families to supply their children if they want it, if they demand it. If your kid is 16 years old and they've decided they're going to use cannabis, doesn't matter what you say to them as a parent anymore. They're going to use it. They're going to find it. Where do you want them buying their weed? Do you want them to some guy's basement suite?
Good shit from cannabis culture.
Some guy with a trench coat around the corner going to take them to their basement suite and try to get them onto some heavier drugs or whatever else goes on there. That's not where I want my 16, 17, 18-year-old daughter to have to go to get her weed. I wanted to go to an established, respectable dispensary where we know where she went and they care about her.
Got to be 18.
Not in my world, you don't. The Canadian Senate in 2002 said 16 should be the age of access, precisely for these reasons. That where do you want your 17 or 16-year-old daughter or son going to get their weed? Because they're going to go and get it if they've decided to get it.
If you want your 16-year-old smoking pot and that's cool with you, then you buy it for them.
Exactly. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And if you won't buy it for them...
That's kind of the same thing with having a beer. I'd say realistically, most people, before they legally were allowed to have a drink, probably had a couple beers with their dad at some point.
Right,
you know what
but
I mean? and I don't think there's anything wrong
An adult
with
was
that.
still somehow responsible for getting it for them.
An adult was still responsible for getting it for them.
And you're now talking about a highly dangerous drug as opposed to cannabis, which is a very safe, drug. So, the regulations and the restrictions around alcohol need to be way different than for cannabis. We need to have families encouraged to be using cannabis if they're going to be using something. Rather than alcohol, rather than commercial tobacco, rather than pharmaceutical products, we should be, as a country, encouraging families and individuals to look to cannabis for the answers to their problems or to what it is that they're looking for as the first choice to see if that works for them, because there's no serious side effects. It's not physically addictive. It's not going to harm them in any significant way, like the others will.
Well, that's good advice. And the chairman of the New Brunswick Recreational Marijuana Commission should heed your advice. We're going to watch a video from them now. Let's see if we can get this one rolling. Chairman of the New Brunswick Recreational Marijuana Committee says they're finding no consensus. So, see, this is what I was trying to get to. It's going to be different in every place. There's going to be all this kind of infighting going on. Oh, showcase. Now there's, oh, Lord, this one's 30 seconds. Where did you stab it? I saw the ad for this. It doesn't really look that good. It looks kind of like a little over dramatic. Why all of television is like about killers, serial killers, violent things, killing? Why is it violent? So violent always.
August 21st on Showcase.
Isn't there like something a little bit more intelligent?
That's why we just watched The Simpsons.
Anyways, exactly.
Here
you go.
the New Brunswick Select Committee on Cannabis wrapped up their tour in Fredericton.
I have to say that we've had a really wide array of opinions, but there are things that are emerging.
Committee Chair Benoit Bourque said of the near 70 presenters, topics varying from the need for education and awareness to how marijuana should be dispensed and, of course, where the age restrictions should be set have been discussed at length. Medical marijuana user Laurie Manzer has some potential concerns about all three. A veteran, he thanks medical marijuana use for his ability to live a normal life, and he doesn't want anyone who could benefit like he has to be excluded.
We don't want, a young child that requires a cannabis therapy to be caught up under the recreational market where, oh, you're under 18, we can't do that because the law says.
It's one reason he's recommending the province keep medical and recreational pot separate, believing that treating them in the same manner could cause more harm than good.
I know a lot of my friends do have addiction problems with alcohol and other drugs. They're using a cannabis therapy in order to quell that addiction. It's not good for these people to go into a liquor store and have to purchase their medicine.
Regardless of recreational or medical use, addressing impairment ranks high on the priority list.
In addition to employers having a responsibility under the general duty of care, employees as well have a huge responsibility and a huge duty of care to inform employers if they are impaired to the point that it might affect their ability to work.
The legalization of marijuana has brought drug-impaired driving more to the forefront than it has been previously. So in that regard, I think that this is beneficial.
With hearings now wrapped, the committee will begin to prepare its report to government, expected by the beginning of September. Jeremy Keefe, Global News, Fredericton.
Oh. So, yep. Work safe. Everybody's going to get their 2 cents in there. All of them. And yeah, there's some valid points, I guess. Like if you were an employer and you had you had people up on a ladder doing whatever they were doing in that little clip that they showed. Would you, if they were puffing away, hitting dabs mad on their break or some shit or whatever, even if they were taking caps, would you want them to tell you that they were taking some heavy duty meds?
I think that
'cause cannabis can be a heavy duty med. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. I think that it is very circumstantial whether you're a medicinal or recreational user, because the thing is, it's a psychoactive substance. There's no way around that. Even if you're a regular user, there's some psychoactive effect. So you can compare it to having a beer at lunch, smoking a joint. Yes, but you can in terms of the psychoactive effect, because a regular user who is pretty experienced and in terms of alcohol or a joint, neither of those two are going to affect a person very much. And a lot of people are fine having a beer and going to work. That doesn't mean everyone is. And as an employer, if there's somebody's doing something unsafe, or 3 Caesars, some bosses don't mind.
It's not acceptable in the workplace, alcohol, for a good reason, for the reputation that it has earned. Cannabis has not earned the reputation that it has. And I need to speak to this because prior to the baker's dozen of years ago that I quit my job to do this type of work, what I was in construction, big time. Construction boss, supervisor, ran construction sites, worked in the industry my whole life since I was a little boy. My dad was a carpenter. I worked mostly for insurance companies on all kinds of different projects for the largest insurance company, restoration company here in Vancouver. And I'll tell you, all of my coworkers, my supervisors, my bosses, and their bosses were high all the time. And it was not acceptable to smoke on many job sites or be visibly that way because of customers or other inspectors.
But like operating the crane or something.
But I'll tell you,
right?
I mean,
Crane
some people
operator was high on heroin.
No, well, you know, it's up to the individual. Impaired is impaired.
Yeah, it's up to the individual. That's the thing.
And
so when it's up to the individual, an employer needs to be able to say outright no, just so that.
Yep.
But
and then they go and smoke a joint.
Yeah, but
that's what in the construction industry, that's what they do. They say you guys can't smoke weed, but me and the other supervisors, we're going to go out and have a toke. They don't tell you that, but that's what's going on. I've been on all levels of it. And cannabis does not impair, except for what Jeremiah was saying. Jeremiah is right that you don't want to be doing super big dab hits and then getting up on a ladder. You don't want to be ridiculous about it.
That's the same that you don't want to be taking
that's happened to
vodka
Neil many
shots when you're
times.
going for
Vodka's
your
different.
lunch.
It has a different reputation. But you're right too. That I had alcoholics working for me, and there were alcoholics that had alcohol in their thermos, with alcohol in their thermos, and I knew it. But as long as the customer didn't find out, and as long as they didn't screw up on their job, I was okay with it because it was a results-oriented situation, and they functioned better with it. I didn't like that situation, but I recognize it. And people with other types of meds for other things that are wrong with them, for me, for arthritis, the cannabis doesn't get me high. It helps me with my arthritis. If my arthritis is down and dulled, I can work way better.
Neil, you never let me finish though.
Sorry.
My original point, because I said right at the bat, it
here.
depends if it's recreational or medicinal. Because the thing is, like, and it depends on the employer too. The employer has a choice. If the employer doesn't give a shit if you're smoking a joint on your break or if you're having a beer at lunch, then they don't give a shit, and it's none of their business. But if they have in their policy, you cannot be on any substance, then you can't be on any substance. You know,
especially if they're
that's just the
testing
way
you.
it is. But especially if they're testing you.
Yeah. Although they can't test for some things.
Keep in
I think
mind,
it's
there are
entirely
people who
appropriate
work-
for you to be smoking pot and working at our vapor lounge, for instance. But smoking pot and working up on the roof, like hot tarring
But that
the
is-
roof of the building,
Neil is right
I
that
would
a
say
lot of
I would
construction
prefer that you
workers-
weren't smoking anything.
Yeah, a lot
That's
of
the way it
construction
is.
workers
Everybody
do
would
smoke
prefer that the person driving the bus or up on the roof wasn't on anything. But the reality of it is that many times they are. And the reality of that is that if they're on cannabis and they're a regular user and they're within their normal dose regimen, then they may well be functioning better than if they weren't on that. So I know the perception of everybody in the world is that nobody else should be high no matter what it is that they're doing, but that's not the reality of things. And some people, myself, I'm a better driver, like McMahon said, like you said, you drive every mile of your life under the influence of cannabis. So do I. It makes me a better driver. I am more cautious. I am,
But if
but I'm a better
brownies,
writer when I've had a beer. I'm a better writer when I've had a beer. I find I'm more relaxed. I find I've got a more natural voice. And I'm lucky that, sometimes I can get away with having beer and then doing some writing. There would be a lot of jobs I just wouldn't be allowed to do it. And they'd say, no, you're just not allowed to. And I think that's okay as an employer to say.
I'm a way better driver when I've had 3 Mickeys. Way better.
Not touching that one.
Way better.
But I think
not agreeing with that one.
Keep in mind, though.
In and out of traffic, all over the road.
But Jeremiah, if you said to me you were a better driver after 3 good strong dabs, I might believe you, and that might be the case. You probably aren't after 3 Mickeys of anything hard. Definitely, you probably. I don't know anybody who would be, but I do know people that would be good drivers after mega doses of cannabinoids because it's within their dose regimen and who they are.
Yeah, and then again, Neil, you need to realize there's 2 sides of the coin because some people are really horrible drivers when they're stoned. I'm a horrible driver. I got behind the wheel.
You shouldn't drive. Please don't.
And I don't for that reason.
Yeah.
So that's again, though, because of that, I know that if I were in a workplace where I had to do a job, where I had to drive some piece of equipment, I would fuck up. I'm so overcautious that I barely move and I get paranoid. I get paranoid when I'm driving, even when I'm sober. So I understand why some people
So you
want
as a
to make those
person
rules.
should not
But
do
let
that?
me finish, Neil. Let
Sorry?
me finish, Neil.
Sorry?
But we also need to keep in mind, too, that when it's something like there is medicinal people. So you're saying if when you've got bad knees or a bad back and you're doing heavy lifting, if you need that medicine, you need that medicine. But right now, people do have psychoactive medicines and are in the workspace. So I think it depends on the employer. Some employer wouldn't want anyone on their workplace who is on a medication where it says do not operate heavy machinery, and that's not discriminating them for their medical issue. That's just because they don't want anyone to get hurt. So I think it really is up to the employer around what kind of workplace they want, but I don't think that people should be, overly putting limitations on, because it's just not necessary.
I'm just saying the perceptions of cannabis are not in line with the reality.
Not everyone can smoke weed all day, every day.
exactly.
Not everyone can handle it. Not everyone's as good
But
of a
nobody
worker.
can take 3 Mickeys and drive, right?
You're right.
And that's
Yeah,
what I'm
and I'm
saying,
not-
is
yeah.
the reputation that alcohol has was earned,
Says
and
you.
cannabis has not earned its reputation yet. That the perceptions of cannabis and what it means
Yes.
to be high has not caught up to the actual reality of what that means. For many people, it's a focusing tool. For many people, it helps them function in their life. So that needs to be recognized, in my opinion, as we move into this now legalization phase of our world here, that the reality, the stigmatization of reefer madness is alive and well, and it's not based in reality. There are realities there. There are some truths to it, but it's not like alcohol, where you can say, absolutely, I don't know anybody that could drive after 3 Mickeys of hard
We've been
liquor.
talking on my
agree.
show about microdosing
agree.
lately. So I mean, if that ends up becoming legalized, if psychedelics end up becoming legalized, then is it okay for somebody in the workplace to tell their employees, no, I don't want you to use acid because you're going to be climbing a ladder? It's like, it's a psychoactive substance. Even though some people might microdose and they feel 1,000 times better, their focus is better, they're a harder worker. For those few people who aren't that way, is it worth it to have them fall off the ladder and then give that drug a bad reputation, a bad name, and finally actually, I don't know.
Chilling like a villain says, free the weed, ban women drivers.
Hey!
No, but my response to you on that was going to be that you as a person need to take
Funny.
responsibility for whether or not
Love
you're
the
capable
chatters.
or whether you're impaired or not.
And I do.
And there
yeah.
needs to be checks and balances on the side of society or the workplace to make sure that people aren't making bad decisions about whether or not they're impaired. So both of those things need to be in place. We have
All right.
impairment tests, physical impairment tests for people that are driving vehicles, and that's fine. If you're impaired, you shouldn't be driving. It doesn't matter what's impairing you. And that should be adhered to. But taking a swab and deciding you've got so-and-so milligrams of whatever in your system and therefore must be impaired, I think that's a violation of many people's actual reality.
Violation.
Whether or not they actually are impaired.
So I'm, boys and girls, gonna wrap it up right about now, pretty
With
quick here.
respect to your talking, Jeremiah,
I have no
about
more videos left.
municipalities?
Yes.
I think that hopefully the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and human rights will win the day over the course of time incrementally as we work our way to getting reasonable
nice.
regulations throughout Canada so that municipalities can't
Well, they're off
overstep
to a pretty
certain
bad
boundaries of
Yeah.
denying access to people.
The feds are off to a bad start. We'll see if any of the provinces do any better. I'm not sure if I have faith in them to do that, but if I do have any faith in any of the provinces right now, it'd be the one that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I think the government here, the new NDP/Green Party government that we have, might actually be sensible.
They might.
So we'll see if we can get through to them.
I'd be nervous if I was
We've
in
met
Ontario.
with them and stuff before, so.
Since there's so much LP money in Ontario.
Oh, that's going to be a disaster.
That's gonna-
Ontario's going to be.
It's going to be
like an
I think it's
LCBO
gonna be,
situation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be some government.
And anyone who
fucking
lives in
weed.
Ontario knows
But hey,
how bad the
maybe
LCBO
the government,
situation is.
government ganja will be all right.
And what about Quebec, where the
Yeah, no
underground
terpenes
market is so
and-
strong there?
Imagine.
How are they going to handle
That's
It'll be
legalization?
hilarious. The prime minister or the premier will have to wear like a Rastafari hat.
You, I don't know.
Interesting times we're living in, eh?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. Peace, freedom, everybody, do your part. Let's steer this boat in the right direction, get to the right destination.
Thanks for coming on, Neil.
Love to be here. Love the audience. They're great. Love the chatters.
They are.
Neil for Prime Minister.
Chatters. Yeah, we love the chatters.
We love you.
Thanks, guys. Oh, yeah. Well, we try to be back every Friday. We've got 7 shows a week now on Pod TV. Every day of the week, there's a show. Well, with a minor exception that Craig's off for a couple weeks, but when he gets back, 7 shows a week. It's a lot of fun. Pod TV, trying to bring you as much programming as possible. Oh, that's the hot seat cam.
No, it was the
There.
tours show host cam.
Yep, that's
Tune in tomorrow at noon.
Boss Alyssa on the boards. She's making sure the show actually is something that you can see and hear out there in the universe. And she's got her own show now on Pod TV that she does every Saturday, high noon. That's my favorite name of a show. You know, for a long time, I swear, and I'm not joking, I wanted to have a show called High Noon. Because, I thought we should do it at noon. And it should be done every single day at noon. And you could just go on and just smoke a joint at noon. And that would be it. And just talk about a different news item that day. That was my original idea for High Noon. But I was happy to hear that you guys chose that name because it's pretty awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't think that you would be able to handle.
No.
That would be 8 shows.
I
week in total.
I don't get up that early.
That's true.
There'll be a day when there's more than one show a day.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's
so
what
you
I'm
can
saying.
watch
That's
Boss
amazing.
Lissa and Friends.
And Friends.
Boss Lissa Miles and Friends.
I was just moving it out of the way.
Give it back to her. Okay. Boss Lissa Miles and Friends. Every Saturday at noon on Pod TV. PT, that is. It's better than the Saturday morning cartoons. It's actually, when you're done watching the Saturday morning cartoons, like I watch, you tune in right afterwards. Is Rocky and Bullwinkle still on?
I've been watching a lot of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Rocky and Bullwinkle's the bomb. It was a serial, so they all went in a row, and they had these long story arcs that went through all these different episodes and stuff. It's pretty inventive. Neil, you like that one? Oh, that's not at Neil now. You're pointing at Carly, Neil, the Neil cam.
Oh, the Neil cam.
The Neil cam. There he is. There's Neil. Now you got a Neil cam.
I remember Rocky and Bullwinkle well, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Rocky. Bullwinkle's fun. And Rocky's the flying squirrel.
I'm dating myself, but the early memories of Saturday morning cartoons were black and white for me.
You're dating yourself these days?
Yes, I'm the only one that'll date me.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's a new thing now.
Shout out to Roxanne.
Yeah. Somebody's got to do it.
She's not dating me. She's,
she's tolerating you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that's what they call that. We love you, Neil. We love you so much.
I'm a tough guy. Tough to live with.
Yeah. Are you? Oh, yeah.
No. Well, I don't know. Ask Roxanne.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why you're dating yourself.
That's why I'm dating myself.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's all kinds of shows all week. Carly's got one on Monday. It's called the 420 Lifestyle Show. Isn't it? Does it have the word show on the end of it? I've always advocated for you to get rid of that word show.
You know what? I didn't really pick my show name, actually.
The 420 Lifestyle.
And then you told me it was the 420 Lifestyle, but I like calling it the
420 Lifestyle Show. Yes.
I call it both.
Yeah. I think it works either way. I'm just being a jerk.
Yeah. As per usual. It's around this time that on Fridays he's got the munchies now, so.
I have the munchies?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's just
You're just being
what
a
I
jerk.
think is funny.
You're just being a jerk.
That's just my sense of humor.
I know.
I like to make fun. It's fun.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and you hate it.
You're tough too.
That's why we're such a good couple.
Take a stab.
Tough to live with too.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
the
Neil.
easiest.
Exactly, me and Neil. I'll be living with Neil soon.
Sure.
Maybe me and Neil can date.
Oh, jeez.
There
That
you
would be an interesting couple.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
That'd be jolly good.
Sure, that's fun.
Well, guys, I think it kind of just got arranged. It seems like you're both in mutual agreement here.
No, I don't date. I don't date anymore.
You just date yourself?
Yeah. No.
Like Neil?
That's me.
No, I just, keep my options open.
Did you talk about all the shows yet? Did you talk about Freddie's show? Did you talk about Marijuana Man's show? Did you talk about all the shows yet?
We talked about two of them.
We talked about Carly's show. Yeah. And there's another show on Tuesday. And in the chat right now is Mr. Freddie, man. Wait, let's find a chat from in there somewhere. He's in there
I
somewhere.
like your chat music.
Yep.
It's kind of like shark music.
Sharknado. Where is he? He's in here somewhere. Look. Oh, there he is, Freddie. Great show. Freddie said great show. Thanks, Freddie. You can watch him on Tuesdays. I'm just really high and having fun right now. Just playing around. So yeah, watch Freddie on Tuesdays on Pod TV. He's the latest addition to the lineup. Awesome guy, really great activist, amazing information you can't find anywhere else. Tune in for that. Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Wednesdays at 4 p.m. is Marijuana Man, Al the Alchemist, Kush Queen, and
Who's
friends.
also on Sunday. We're gone.
Oh, don't get out of order yet. We're doing this
got out of order?
chronologically.
Really? Because I'm pretty sure Sunday comes before Wednesday and Tuesday.
Oh, whoops! I
You went
did it
Monday-
reverse.
Yeah, you did. You did Saturday, Monday, Tuesday.
No, I
and
started
then
with
you did
Monday.
Wednesday. No, we started with Bossy.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
Long time ago.
true.
Not in this
then-
recent
I
sequence.
guess we started with.
And then we just started talking about it.
Right. I was actually getting started again. I was going to reference Bossless the show again.
Sorry, I thought it would be an easy segue because
All right.
you were talking about
All
Kush
right.
Queen.
Well, now we're all out of order. Just joking.
all of the days there's
I think he was just talking about Kush Queen being on the Marijuana Man show.
Yes, I was. Yeah.
And then I was saying that's a good segue to mention she also has a show on Sunday
Wednesdays,
at 2 p.m.
From Under
But
the
then you're forgetting
Influence,
Greg,
Wednesday
Craig.
at 4 on Pod TV. From Under the Influence. That's Marijuana Man and Friends. Tune in. Thursday, nobody. Craig X is not here for this week, so you usually can find
You can
Craig
watch
X.
old shows of Craig.
He should just play a repeat.
He's
should
going to
tell
be
him-
doing the event on Saturday.
Oh.
So he's going to be live streaming
Well,
the event
that's
on
not
Saturday.
Thursday.
That's not Thursday.
what event?
I can't
What
remember.
event?
I was pretty sure I knew which one it was, but then DC
I
Bedgown
thought he's
messaged me
taking
last
some
night
days
being
off.
like, "Are you at the event tonight?" So I don't want to say the wrong event name, so I'm going to double check.
Oh, maybe is that true? MMJ.
Oh,
So
it's
maybe-
the MMJ event about patients, care over patients. Or care
Yeah,
for patients.
we don't know what's going on.
No, there's an event on Saturday though.
Is there?
Yeah.
There's always an event. But Thursdays, Craig X, Expert Joints.
Usually.
Awesome. Lots of good stuff going on there. Lots of good plugs. And no, lots of great people from the
king of
cannabis
plugs.
industry. Craig's got a lot of great guests on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Really does a great job. And then there's Friday, right here. Then there's Bossless. Wait, where's the camera? The boss cam. Boss cam. Dun 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 dun. On the couch. Couch cam. See, this is our great studio here.
There we go.
It's all black at the moment. Dun, 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 dun. And then the big TV on the wall. Woo! There's Carly Pants. So there you go. And then there's Sunday with Kush Queen on the Royal Hour. Oh, so High Noon is at noon. Royal Hour's at 2 p.m. Don't get confused. Don't think it's at 4. It's at 2. How do you? There's got to be a mnemonic device for that. 2's more of a royal
Tune in
number.
at 2 p.m.
Tune in at 2. Yes, that's pretty good. Carly's got it.
Brightness Jam.
The Invasion. That's tomorrow.
Yes. Brightness Jam. Saturday. That's Saturday.
What's that about?
Carly.
Invasion.
So that's where Craig's going to be at. It's at the Hemp Quarters, which is an awesome head shop, and it is at their Surrey location, Saturday, August 12th, and it's from 7 to 10 p.m. Wholesale is 6 to 7 p.m. Not sure where you can get your tickets still.
What are they doing there?
You can get your tickets somewhere still, I'm sure. Well, it's going to be featuring Kahuna Glass Art, so there's going to be a scaling innovation, so there'll be glass show of sorts, I'm sure. I would like to go check it out.
Carly,
Awesome.
902 Boy says you two hosts should date unless that ring means she's married.
No, it doesn't mean I'm married.
Oh, there you go. Pretty good advice, maybe. What do you think?
Do you have any plans tonight?
Want to get dinner with me after the show?
Hey, I think that chatter started
I'm
something.
starving. Neil, you're a third wheel now. Get out of here. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Fun. Okay, well, Love You Pod TV. I think we did everything we needed to today. We'll be back again next Friday with more giant scoops of fun. Giant cones of fun with scoops on the cone. It's like
You
ice
should
cream.
bring ice
We're
cream
scooping up
now.
fun like ice cream.
I want to learn how to make medicated ice cream. I think I
going
could
with
do
that.
it. Maybe I can make some ice cream for your show next week.
Not medicated though. I'll be sleeping.
I know, but it's so funny when you get all edibled out.
No.
Okay, I'll make
do it.
some non-medicated too then.
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see. I've been wanting to make some edibles lately, so there might be some new recipes coming to you guys soon on Pod TV. All right.
Yeah.
See you later. We love you.
Love
Thanks
You
for
Pod
tuning in.
TV. Drug peace.